football stadium facility. Principal says part of this is the band has lost everything that was in a freezer there. A 16-year-old and two 15-year-olds are now facing felony charges. The principal says these were not Jimson High School students. Right now, the school is working to replace, clean, repaint what was destroyed and getting support from the community to do it.
And one of the things that I can say is that throughout my life in living here, that our community always steps up, no matter what it is. If there's a need, they step up.
Like our biggest thing is what can we do? What do they need? What can we do to help? So my husband and I sat and talked about it last night, and we were like, okay, let's do a give back.
Principal Jackson says after this, she hopes students can find the positive in every negative. That's not what happens that defines you. It is how you respond. Now tonight, to our trick to get you some answers on what some call an influx of migrants in small cities across Alabama, specifically Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall in Talladega County today to get a better understanding of what's happening. And we were the only media there for the meeting. And based on what we've been able to learn, the folks who are living in Sylacauga are here legally through a specific immigration program created for those from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Applicants have to be vetted and have a sponsor providing all humanitarian care while they're in the country. The federal government says it gives urgent humanitarian reasons for public benefit for entry. And once they're here, they can apply for a work visa. Attorney General Steve Marshall says the program is being abused and believes sponsors aren't providing the necessary care. We haven't been able to track down the sponsors. That information isn't available, which local officials say is part of the problem. As for public safety, Marshall says to this point he sees no issue.
First of all, very confident that law enforcement has a good handle on the situation locally. Did not hear overarching law enforcement concerns at the moment by the presence of any immigrant community that's here, but also very impressed with the diligent nature in which they are engaging in their work and understanding specifically what's going on, whether it be in the city or in the county as a whole.
We have been in communication with Homeland Security to confirm the information. We'll give you an update as soon as we know more. An update for you tonight on the ongoing legal fight over the future of the Quest Club in Birmingham. The city voted to revoke its business license and liquor license last week because of safety concerns. But the club will stay open thanks to a judge giving them an injunction today, a decision that the city is already fighting. The attorney for the club says her office is trying to maintain the club is open and make sure it stays open so businesses and employees can keep their jobs and take care of their families. We'll have an update on all of this coming up at the end of the month when these two sides, the city and the club, are back in court. By the way, Quest will be in court as well, fighting another case. The family of Terrence Brown, who was killed at the club back on May 24th, has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against that 24-hour club. Happening now, Birmingham police hoping you can help them solve two Wednesday homicides, one in Brother Bryan Park in the 5 Points South area. Police identifying the victim as Tyrone Hendricks, shot about 10:30 last night. Investigators say witnesses heard a gunshot and saw folks running out of the park. Police identifying the victim of another homicide as Isaiah Anthony. He was found shot and killed about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon here on Laurel Avenue in the Powderly community. Investigators say he got in an argument with someone else before the shooting. They don't have anyone in custody in that case, and they would look for information from you in either of these shootings. You can call them or Crime Stoppers. Now to new reaction on 6 on your side to former President Trump's upcoming visit for the Bama-Georgia game. The chairman of the state Republican Party this afternoon saying he's excited about the visit because he believes it's another sign that Alabama is getting more national political attention. He also says he does not expect the former president to do any extra political events while he's in Alabama.
They're going to probably get in there, get him inside the box, get him secured, and probably won't be time for an outside political event, especially with as many people that will be in Tuscaloosa that day. It makes it very hard to move a motorcade. And so I don't expect any other political activity, not because we don't want it and not because Donald Trump doesn't want it, just because of the practicality of securing a venue and being able to move him.
University of Alabama telling a private citizen invited Trump and is telling fans, hey, get there early to expedite that screening process. They'll have walk-through metal detectors and the clear bag policy that's already been in place. They'll be strictly enforcing, of course, and says their focus is to make sure you have a safe and positive game day experience. Some great news for West Birmingham neighbors. The Bush Hills neighborhood now added to the National Register of historic places. City spokesperson says Bush Hills Association's been trying for almost a decade to get on that list, and the designation gives it a architectural style nod for historical significance, cultural heritage. Bush Hills was established back in the 1920s. All right, our chief meteorologist Wes Wyatt back from Texas and ready to chow down on some of that barbecue he snuck in to take on back. But also, Wes, it is a much cooler atmosphere for us here than it is in Texas, but it's still warm out there.
Yeah, it's still warm out there, Jonathan, and fall actually starts Sunday morning officially. The autumnal equinox begins. However, the summer heat will hold on. We're going to see highs close to 90 degrees, still close to 90 right now, but this evening a nice drop off in those temperatures into the 70s there through 9 o'clock. The sky will clear out and we'll wake up to some 60s there early tomorrow morning. So if you can get a head start there tomorrow, you'll beat some of that hotter weather building by midday. Again, afternoon highs close to 90, and tomorrow night looks like we will stay dry for high school football. Notice 7 o'clock. You can see right there those temperatures in the low 80s, upper 70s, and a light and variable wind for tomorrow night. But it looks like this weekend, afternoon highs still low 90s, so it's going to feel like summertime certainly over the weekend as we plan ahead. In the tropics, though, it could get interesting next week. In a system that Tania and Lauren and Matt and Mickey, Megan, we all been talking about. I want to show you what's happening here. We have a couple of disturbances out in the Atlantic, a low chance for development, but you look at the satellite, you don't see a lot happening here over the Caribbean, but model data is telling us there's a wave in here that's going to become better organized this weekend and especially by the middle of next week, and the data is really confident on that system becoming better defined and then lifting to the north. Seeing some strong signals of that happening. Now, will it go north? Will it go northeast? Or will it go northwest? That's the big question. How strong will this system grow? I mean, the potential is there for this to grow into a tropical storm. The next name on the list would be Helene if it does become better organized. This is the deterministic data. This is the GFS. If you follow me on my Facebook page, though, I did share a lot of the meteorological ensembles which look at multiple model scenarios, and they all tend to agree that later next week in this general region we could have a developing tropical system. So that's a high confidence of that happening. A possible track northeast. Still need to see some more data on that, but the next name, if this does grow into indeed a tropical storm, it's Helene. Football forecast, again, I mentioned dry for Friday night, but this weekend, if you're heading to the JSU game, the Auburn game, plan on tailgating, certainly pack some extra bottles of water. It's going to be hot out there, and do not forget the sunscreen. I know it's September, but make sure you have the sunscreen for this weekend. Monday and Tuesday, it looks dry on this forecast. We did include maybe a stray shower. Mention that in the forecast. You'll see that on the weather app. The temperatures next week, looks like we stay upper 80s, close to 90 there on a couple days. Wednesday and Thursday, though, I did add the first alert for watching the tropics, watching the Gulf to see what happens with that system, because as we go beyond next Wednesday, forecast somewhat fluid depending on how well that system organizes. But we'll talk a lot more about it as we gather more data, so do check in for updates.
All right, Wes, sounds good, and thank you for joining us for this special edition of 6 on Your Side. We'll be right back here streaming for you at 6:30 with Wes and the team on First Alert Weather Extra, and then back on TV after the Major League Baseball game tonight, and we'll see you then.